Sometimes, if you listen really hard, you can almost hear it.
Our first ever instant star is...
You're it, girl. You're the real thing.
That moment your life changes.
It's about a girl who is just about to fly off and see the world.
Forever.
Jude Harrison!
Hello and welcome to The Breakdown, an Instant Star Rewatch podcast. As always, I am joined by my beautiful, wonderful co-host, Sam.
And I am here with the lovely, spectacular Chloe.
And today, we are recapping Instant Star Season 3, Episode 2, Like a Virgin. Originally aired 16th of February 2007, so I'm pretty sure they aired Season 3, Episode 1 and 2 back to back.
Yes.
Synopsis. In an interview, Karma says that she's a virgin, and they automatically assume that Jude isn't. Jude and Karma begin to not get along, and Jude ends up flashing her boob to an entire 13th birthday party while performing. The episode title is obviously Like a Virgin, which is the 1984 song by Madonna.
Mm-hmm.
I have thoughts on this episode. What are your thoughts on it?
I feel like there's a lot of hype that is not lived up to.
Yeah.
I mean, there could have been a better title. There could have been a better synopsis. It was just the title was very misleading. The synopsis was very misleading. Just a lot of hype that was not lived up to.
I feel like, and I'm just going to warn everybody now, my rating for this episode that we talk about at the end is low. Like,
Oh, mine too.
this is the I'm in love with my guitar episode of season 3.
Yes.
I don't remember having this much of a problem with this episode back in the day, but I just feel like this episode is trying to be something that it's not, and I don't know if I agree with the whole virgin storyline anyway. I don't know. We'll talk about it.
Yes.
Okay, we'll get into the recap.
Which, okay, and to be fair, it is literally, what is today's date? Today's date is May 13th in the United States. So, yesterday was May 12th. May 12th was Mother's Day in the United States, where I'm from. So, I think that, and I have very mixed and conflicting emotions about Mother's Day because of my personal health and some healing I'm going through. And that really shone through a lot when I was watching this episode.
Oh.
And just with the episode title, I'm gonna warn you guys, my episode rating is very low. Like Chloe said, this is I'm in love with my guitar for season 3.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna get a lot of probably Sam rage for this episode. I'm just gonna tell you guys now.
I'm ready. I will say that the saving grace of this episode is Patsy.
Yes.
Legend that she is.
Yes.
Without Patsy, this episode, I just feel like I couldn't even watch it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the recap. You can tell we're so enthusiastic, can't you? Compared to last week, where we were so excited. I just feel like last week's episode was incredible. It was such a good introduction to the new season. And then immediately you have this episode, and it just fell flat for me.
Yeah.
So the episode opens with Jude, who, unlike us, is in a great mood. She's posted her photos online, and she's feeling herself. She's walking down the street, she's confident, and this soon gets shot down pretty quick by her seeing her own billboard for her learning curve record that's been graffitied, and it says slut. We cut to Darius, who is pretty pissed that Jude decided to post her own drunk photos. And he says that aside from alienating her fans by doing that, it's also upset a powerful member of someone on the G Major board. And Jude can't seem to care less, but Darius insists that she sits in on Karma's first press conference to apologize. Darius also insists that Jude performs at this unhappy board member's son's bar mitzvah. So she meets with his kid, Gary, to plan all of it. Meanwhile, Sadie is badly flirting with Quest, and she suggests that they go out for dinner, while glancing at Tommy while she asks. Instead of inviting her to dinner, Quest lamely invites her to the bar mitzvah instead. We'll talk about that in a second. Karma has her first press conference, and Jude starts by apologizing for the photos, but then goes off script and says that actually she thinks the photos show that she's not perfect, which is a good thing. Karma tries to start her own press conference, but the press are only interested in Jude. And when Jude directs the focus back to Karma, Karma starts by saying how much she respects Jude, but they're quite different. And then she shocks everyone by saying they're the most different because Karma is still a virgin, and she implies that Jude isn't. Jude doesn't tell the press anything, and she tries to forget it by hanging out with her band, SME, but they only joke around and she still refuses to tell anyone whether she is or isn't. Jude runs into Tommy and asks how his secret daughter is, and they nearly get into a fight, but Jude reminds him that she's all about dignity now. Tommy and Quest get into a disagreement because Quest is producing Karma's new single, and Quest says it's because Tommy's been away, so things have changed. And Quest nearly asks him about dating Sadie, but they don't talk about it. Jude and her dad then talk about the press conference, and he says he's really proud of how she handled it, and I think it's a really nice scene between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the only good ones in the episode. Jude is trying on outfits for the bar mitzvah when Jamie breaks the news that she's actually no longer performing because what they want for the performance is purity, so they chose Karma instead. Jude and Patsy then decide to crash the party, and they see Karma performing Jude's song Waste My Time. Jude decides that her dignity has gone and it's time for war, and she crashes Karma's performance of The Flame, and they duel it out on stage. Quest and Sadie are badly flirting with each other again, and they have their first kiss. At least I think it's their first kiss. And Tommy walks in. He's pissed at Quest for breaking the guy code, and Quest riles him up and says if you got Jude, it would be the worst thing that ever happened to her, so Tommy punches him. But Sadie walks in, thinking Tommy punched Quest because of her. Jude and Karma finish performing, and Karma says to Jude, well, everyone still thinks you're a whore, which Patsy doesn't take very kindly to. She throws Karma into the cake, and Karma grabs Jude's bra or top and pulls it off, revealing one of her boobs. So Jude accidentally, I'd like to add it was accidental, accidentally flashes a kid's party and is mortified. Jude and Sadie then debrief the day, and we do learn that Jude is still a virgin, and that maybe she's waiting for a particular someone. Jude then meets with Darius and tells him that she stands by her decision to crash the party. And Darius isn't even upset. He's happy. People will be talking about this for ages. And Jude finally learns that the little girl isn't Tommy's, it's Darius's kid. Jude apologizes to Tommy for misinterpreting that whole thing. And then we see Karma leaving the rehearsal space after sleeping with Speed. So we learn that she is no longer a virgin.
And Jude is a virgin.
Yes. Now, let's break that whole thing down. First things first, I'm going to call this episode Take a Shot every time somebody says dignity or grace. Because,
Yes.
oh my god,
Although neither one of us actually drink anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand where this new angle of Jude is, I'm zen, I'm dignity, I'm grace. Yes, she posted her drunk photos last episode, but why is she suddenly taking this moral high ground out of nowhere? Where does that come from?
I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense, because by the next episode, she's off it again.
Yeah.
So, we'll start from the top. I quite liked the juxtaposition of her graffitied billboard, which said slut, because obviously, back in season 2, pretty much to the exact episode, she defaced that billboard with Patsy. So I feel like it's just different when your billboard is ruined rather than you doing it.
Yes.
But I don't know how I feel about the word slut being used. And I'm not, I'm not what I would call a prude or anything, but she's 17, nearly 18. Slut just seems like a very intense word to have written on a billboard just because of some drunk pictures where she wasn't even naked.
Right. I feel like there's so many other... See, that's... Like, now in my 30s, I'm like, why that word? Yet, when I was 17, 18, my go-to greetings for my friends was, hey slut, hey bitch, hey whore.
It was such a early 2000s thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, I feel like I'm calling myself a hypocrite for seeing like, oh my gosh, that was so harsh and so mean and so hard to see that on a billboard for Jude. And knowing that that was how me and my friends talked to each other.
Yeah.
And that's how we talked about celebrities. You know what I mean?
That's how we talked about other girls at school. Like,
yeah.
It's awful, but we did.
Yeah. It's, I literally... When you're in middle school and high school, you don't see it. But middle school goers and high school goers, or I guess junior high and high school, depending on where you are in the country, or in the world, you could not pay me all the money in the world to go back to those ages. Because the girls from like 6th grade to 12th grade, or grade 6 to grade 12, however you say it, those girls are vicious.
Yeah.
They are mean. They are vicious. They are cruel. They are some of the most evil, purest form of evil walking this side of hell.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not exaggerating.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Girls at high school, middle school can be the worst.
Yeah. So, I want, as a 38-year-old woman, I want to say, oh, that's so mean, that's so harsh, I can't believe they did that. But again, remembering, if somebody walked down the hall in the wrong type of jeans, oh, well, she was a slut. She was a whore. You know what I mean?
Yep, 100%.
And so it's hard to, by saying one thing but remembering another, I would be a hypocrite to say it was shocking to see that.
Yeah, but I also think that at our ages now, we can have more worldly
Sympathy.
views about it.
Yeah. Like
And
now, I can be like, oh, I can't believe it.
yeah, yeah. Like when I saw the word "slut" on that billboard, I thought, oh, that's intense. Like,
Yeah.
but
Like
like you
now, I
said,
can see how cruel and evil kids are. You know, and it's like I said, when you're in it, you don't see it.
no,
But looking back now, you know, of course we see it. And that's why we can say, you can't pay me enough to go back to being that age.
yeah, exactly. And I think in this show, we forget that Jude is a kid. She is 17 at this point, which is so young.
Yeah.
But when you're that age, you feel like you're a grown up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy. But then we go to Darius, and he's pissed at Jude for posting her photos. Do you think she should have posted her own photos? I'm in two minds.
See, I'm in two minds. It's like good for her for taking accountability. And where the hell is her PR team?
Yeah, doesn't she have a PR team? Actually,
Yeah,
wasn't EJ her PR person? So that's long gone.
I think so.
Yeah, I feel like Darius could have put a spin on it that said she wasn't drunk, you know, all of this stuff. But I understand she was trying to take her power back with it. So I get it. But I get why Darius is annoyed, because he probably could have handled it and made it go away.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, you know, you've upset a powerful member of the G Major board. I was like, G Major has a board? Really?
Yeah.
And he says, you know, you're sitting on Karma's first press conference. I would have loved to have seen Jude's first press conference. That would have been so interesting.
Yes.
I wish they'd have filmed that. Darius insists that Jude performs at this bar mitzvah, and, you know, I get it. He's trying to make nice. Once again, Jude is at the mercy of what Darius wants.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go to Sadie and Quest. I forgot Quest existed until he appeared on my screen. I'm not into them as a couple. It's just not for me.
I can't believe well, it's not even that I used to be into them as a couple. It's that until like season 4, I wasn't able to see outside of like the screen, I guess. And so it was like I didn't have those I didn't have those alternate universes or, oh, wait, they have more chemistry than this type of couples.
You just agree with what they were showing you.
Yeah. And so it wasn't like I really shipped them, it's just that they were there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like now that I do have the ability of like, oh, wait, I'm kind of just like, first go away.
They're badly flirting, and Sadie suggests dinner, but she looks at Tommy when she says it, so.
And it's like, I almost feel bad for the guy, because it's like, he can't tell that he's a rebound.
Yeah.
And it's not even just in the beginning, it's their entire relationship. Yeah. He's the rebound. I don't think at one single point in their relationship does she actually care for him more than a rebound.
And he's a nice guy. Like, Quest, the character, is lovely. But that's the thing, he's too nice for Sadie.
Yeah.
She wants the Tommy type of person. And
Mm-hmm.
she wants Tommy to notice that she's quote unquote moving on.
Yeah.
But then instead of inviting her to dinner, he lamely invites her to this bar mitzvah. I literally wrote, what? Nice dinner, kids' bar, like 13th birthday party. Okay. Sure. Like, even Liam took her out for dinner.
Yeah.
I miss Liam.
I do miss Liam.
And then we see Karma's first press conference, and Jude goes off script with her apology and says, you know, the photos show that she's not perfect. And I agree with this. Like, but back then, the culture for celebrities was to pretend that they were perfect and they didn't make mistakes. You wouldn't want to see that people in Hollywood were human. And then we get to the crux of this storyline. Karma tells everyone that she is still a virgin, and she implies that Jude isn't. And this is where I get to having a problem with this whole storyline this episode, because why are we talking about virginity anyway when Jude is only 17?
Thank you. Thank you.
Is it because she's famous? So obviously, wasn't there something with Britney Spears back in the day where she said she was going to stay a virgin and then came out that she hadn't or something?
I think there was. And I'm just like, that or this might have been like the beginning of the purity culture.
You'd know more than me, because I think that was more like in the US than in the UK.
It might have been, yeah. But see, I'm trying to remember 2007. This might have been the very beginning, because if it was 07.
Wasn't that when like the Jonas Brothers and stuff started wearing purity rings?
Yeah, and like, yeah. So I'm trying to think when this was this.
That would have been around 2007, I think.
Yeah, this was post like Britney and Justin.
Yeah.
Beginning. There's like literally like celebrities for times, because like Britney and Justin are like the late 90s.
Yeah.
Early 2000s, and then you have like Taylor and Jonas Brothers and Miley and Selena that are like 07-ish. So yeah, this would have been like, at least in the US and probably Canada, the purity culture it hit-ish.
Yeah, that didn't translate to the UK.
Look at you guys, because it was literally everywhere. And it was like, you either you were either part of it and good for you if you weren't part of it, because you were on the right side of things if you were.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody bothered asking what you did in the dark behind closed doors because you had the shiny ring on your finger.
Yeah.
Or you were on the wrong side of the tracks because you didn't have the shiny ring. And if you didn't have them, you were bad.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was like, it wasn't just lines drawn in the sand. It was like walls of China.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was that intense.
All for like whether you're wearing a ring or not.
Yeah. And the crazy part is, and you know, it should have been about what your heart said. Because like when I took my purity pledge, I took it at my church because my promise was to myself, to God, and to my future husband that I am saving my heart, my soul, and my body for my future husband.
Yeah.
It wasn't about culture. It wasn't about the fad. it was about, that is something I want to give my husband.
Yeah.
But for some people, it was about the fad. It was, the celebrities are doing this. So even though they had on this shiny little ring, they were still doing it behind closed doors in the dark.
Of course they were. They were just trying to appeal to the demographic.
Yeah. And it turned out that that trend caused a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Like, I was reading about it online, and a lot of people, it caused a lot of church hurt. It broke up a lot of families. It broke up a lot of relationships. It did more damage than good.
Yeah.
Because not everybody, I don't want to say, oh, yay, me, because I did it the right way. There's no such thing. Not everybody took it the way I did.
Yeah, and celebrities in particular, like, it's such a messy topic when celebrities decide to get on board with stuff that should be taken more seriously. Not because they're trying to just appeal to that group of people with their music. Like,
Right.
that's so messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And that this storyline now for this episode makes so much more sense. I hadn't put two and two together that it was close to that era of celebrities doing this.
Yeah.
But I still have a problem with the storyline because I understand why they did it, because Jude's in the public eye, and that is what women in particular used to get asked all the time. But still, she's 17. It's very kind of Britney-esque to me.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that, like, I had such a hard time with this episode, and the fact that I have a hard time with, like, not even just Instant Star, but with any TV show that deals with storylines like this, is why is something that should be between a man, a woman, or partners, and that person and their doctor ever brought up in media?
Mm.
I
Yeah.
mean, it should be between, like, it should be between me, who I decide to be with, and me and my doctor.
Mm.
It does not need to be made into a plot line. It does not need to be broadcasted on social media. You know, you're my best friend. If I choose to talk about it with you, that's one thing. But I'm not going to talk about it on the Breakdown podcast.
No.
Like, that's my thing. And okay, some people might be like, well, Sam's a Christian. She's active in a church. She's a prude. Whatever. That's just me. I get it bothers me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, that shouldn't be brought up. That is between partners and person A and their doctor.
Yeah, and that's your view and that's your opinion, and everyone's allowed to have their view and opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had a daughter and she was in the public eye and she was asked in a press conference if she was a virgin, I'd have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Like, and again, it's a double standard. Men in the public eye don't really get asked that.
Mm-hmm.
Justin and Britney, no one ever asked Justin. They only cared about the Britney side of things.
Yeah.
You can all bet Justin was doing whatever he was doing. No
Yeah.
one judged him for it.
Right.
But then we have some like... Oh, sorry, you continue.
I was going to say, and it's only ever the females.
Yes.
The guy never gets shit.
Yep.
If anything, the guy gets congratulations.
Yes.
And that's such a double standard.
It's crazy. It's just, ugh. Well, then we get to Jude hang out with SME, and she tries to just kind of forget the press conference, but they won't really let her forget. I actually love this scene. Feels like we haven't had an SME scene for forever.
Yes.
Like, this felt like old school Instant Star, where they were all just hanging out together, joking around. Like, I don't know, I loved it.
Yes.
And then Jude runs into Tommy and asks how his secret daughter is. And Jude doesn't get into a fight because she reminds him that she is Zen and dignity now. Oh my god. This whole scene and this whole theme of her suddenly being about dignity feels so off this episode. Why is she suddenly in this dignity, grace, Zen mindset? Like, I don't understand where this has come from.
No.
You know, at the end of the last episode, she said being a grown-up means you get to choose your own destiny. Great. Why is that destiny suddenly her taking some kind of Buddhist moral high ground about everything?
And like, honey, it's not working for you.
Yeah, it just feels off. And even Tommy is like, what the? Like, who is this person? And then again, the scene with Tommy and Quest where they get into a disagreement. And Quest says, you know, things have changed. You've been away. I'm producing karma. This feels off between them as well. Where is this anger coming from? I don't get it.
Yeah.
This episode feels very fillerish, and I feel like a lot of what happens in this episode doesn't really get talked about again.
Yeah.
Apart from maybe like the Quest, Sadie, Tommy situation.
Mm-hmm.
But then we have a nice
scene. The punch definitely does.
Yes, but that's kind of it. Like, no one ever talks about Jude being a virgin again. Not really.
There is that one between her and Tommy.
Oh, sure, but like, the world doesn't really talk about it again.
Right. It's not like broadcasted.
No, this whole
it's all like
gate
a little moment.
Yeah. But then there's a nice scene with Jude and her dad, and I like this scene because he is the voice of reason. He reminds everyone that it's a double standard, and the media vultures are just fishing for information that's none of their business.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the most realistic scene of the whole episode.
Yes.
But then we find out from Jamie that Jude is no longer performing because the bar mitzvah wanted someone who represents purity. Again, Jude reminds everyone that she's about grace and dignity. Take a shot every time she says. It's just a weird angle again. I'm like, okay, great. Like, sure. And then we have Jude and Patsy, and they crash the party. Patsy makes this episode. And when Jude hears Karma perform Waste Her Time, Jude realizes that grace and dignity are off the table. It's time for war. And I literally wrote, love this energy, much better.
Yes.
And they perform The Flame together, which is Karma's song. And this performance, this energy in the performance is great. This is a good part of the episode. And Jude is out singing Karma 10-1.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see Quest and Sadie, who are badly flirting again. And they have their first kiss when Tommy walks in. And Tommy is pissed at Quest for breaking the guy code. And Quest riles him up and says, you know, if you got Jude, it'd be the worst thing that ever happened. And that's when Tommy punches him. Sadie walks in thinking that Tommy punched Quest about her. So this scene is actually really pivotal. We learn that, according to Quest, the underage thing hasn't stopped Tommy in the past. Not sure how that sat with me. I'd like to find out more about that, but I don't know whether they're talking about Angie, who we don't know about yet.
I've always thought they meant Angie.
Or Portia, but I can't remember the age difference.
Yeah, I can't either.
But I was like, oh, when Quest said that, I was like, wow, like, let's pause on that for a second. What are you talking about? And then we also learned that, which is very important, that Tommy doesn't want Sadie anymore. He literally says that to Quest. I don't want her. Which I think is really pivotal because we can obviously tell that Sadie clearly still wants Tommy, but we learn that Tommy is completely over her. But then Tommy also insults her by calling her an industry groupie. I literally wrote, what? That's like such a big insult. So to me, that whole fight.
Out, why is my girl such a dumb blonde?
Yeah. Like, Tommy really just does not like Sadie much anymore. He's over it.
No.
But to me, that whole scene with Quest and Tommy is probably the most pivotal of the whole episode because all of these things that they mentioned continue to play out over the season.
Well, and okay, I want your opinion because I thought maybe this was just me. I don't like. Okay, so we know that Sadie, my poor girl, was a dumb blonde in this moment. I think too much bleach got to her brain cells. Poor Sadie.
We love you, Sadie.
We do love you, Sadie. Do you think Crest knew that the fight wasn't about Sadie, or do you think that he thought some of it was?
I think Quest knew that it was about Jude because the second he says if you got Jude, it'd be the worst thing, that's when Tommy punches him. But I feel like Quest also knows that Tommy might be over Sadie, but he wouldn't be happy about his best friend getting with her. And probably Quest knows that that's less because it's guy code and more because Tommy he wants to be the person who gets all the women and, But yeah, I think Quest knows for sure that it's about it.
And then, do you think that the reason that Tommy looked pissed off to begin with when he walked in was because Quest wasn't doing his job and he was busy flirting with Sadie?
In a way, yes. Because Tommy... I think for all of Tommy's faults, we can agree that he's always been a really good producer. And I think he takes his job pretty seriously. Like... I found it pretty funny that he was so invested in the fact that Quest had stepped away from the board to go and kiss Sadie. And even Quest was like, dude, it's like a 13-year-old's birthday party. Nobody cares. Yeah. What do you think, though?
I think that's what set him off, is that Quest wasn't at the board.
Yeah.
And then he walks in and finds him flirting with his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And then Quest pushes his buttons even more and says that about Jude, and Tommy's just like, fuck you.
Yes.
I'm done.
Yeah, 100%.
Because as much as Quest can be a useless character, one thing he's very good at and good for in this show is pushing Tommy's button and one good thing he's used for is to get Tommy to realize things and getting Tommy to own up.
Yeah, he knows Tommy so well. And
he knows him almost as good as Darius, if not just as good as Darius.
Yeah. But I was just amazed how mean Tommy was about Sadie. Like, I know she's an ex, but calling her an industry groupie, that stung for me.
Yeah, I was like, that was a little mean, dude.
Yeah, Jesus. Like, okay, we get that you're over her, sure. That's okay, leave it at that. Like, God, it's so mean.
It's like, you don't have to be a dick.
Yeah.
But come on.
But yeah, I thought that scene was probably the most important of the whole episode. Because we learned a lot in that small scene. And obviously now Sadie thinks that Tommy still has feelings for her, which is going to backfire so badly as the rest of the season plays out.
Yes.
Oh my. And then we have Jude and Karma. They finish their performance, and Karma calls Jude a whore, which Patsy hates. I mean, a whore, again, that's a very strong word for a 17-year-old.
And how old do you think Karma
I was
is?
just
'Cause
going to ask you that. I think she's 18.
do you think she's 18? I thought she was maybe in her. If she wasn't 20, I was going to say like 23, 24.
I was going to say either 18 or like 21, maybe. I
Because
don't think we
I
ever
got
know.
the feeling she was a couple years older than Drew.
Yeah, maybe.
And I get the feeling that Patsy is like 21 or 23.
Yeah, I'm sure that Patsy's quite a bit older.
Because I know legal drinking age in Canada is 18.
Oh, is it? So it's not 21.
Yeah. No, it's legal. Legal drinking age in Canada is 18.
Okay.
So I only know that because at one point in time I was going to go to Toronto.
Cool.
But so I did some research on that. But yeah, I wasn't ever sure on Patsy's age, and I was never sure on Karma's age. And the boys' age, I was just like, I know Speed and Jamie's.
Yeah.
And
I think Karma and Patsy are meant to be a bit older, with Patsy probably being the eldest of the three, and Patsy being Karma being somewhere in the middle between Jude and Patsy. I'm not sure if you ever find out their ages. That'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean,
That could be one more questions for Steven this season.
yeah. Start the questions now. Yeah, but you know, calling a 17-year-old a whore again.
That's still pretty.
But again, it's what girls said to other girls back then, regardless of how mean it is. I mean, Karma said it as an insult, but we used to say that kind of stuff as a compliment. Like, it's so bad.
Yeah.
But I like how Patsy defends Jude. Like, Jude and Patsy really are like good, close friends, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, by Patsy defending Jude, that's when Karma grabs Jude's top and Jude accidentally flashes the birthday party. I get what they were trying to do with the boobgate thing. I just feel like it would have worked better if it wasn't a kid's birthday party. Like,
yeah,
if Jude had performed at like another yacht party, like she did it in the beginning of season 2, that would have been better, I think, than a bunch of 13-year-olds.
It was a good situation, wrong place.
Yes. Yes. Would have been better if the whole storyline was Darius saying, you perform at the board members' party, like a yacht party or just an industry party or something. But I guess we've kind of already had that with the yacht one in season 2, so it would have felt maybe a bit repetitive. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But then we have Jude and Sadie debrief about the day. And this is where we learn that Sadie is not over Tommy, because she says about the fight, and she says you can't deny that Tommy is passionate. I mean, Sadie, this is going to bite you in the ass. Big time.
Yes.
Good Lord. But we also learn, importantly, that Jude is still a virgin, because Sadie says, you know, who was it? Was it Shay? I get shivers every time someone mentions Shay, because it doesn't happen.
Oh.
Was it Shay? Was it Jamie? Was it Speed? Jude says, no, it was no one. And Sadie says, well, who are you waiting for? And we don't find out, but the mind can wander. And then Jude tells Darius that, you know, stand by my decision to crash the party. And Darius has just done a 180. He's not even pissed anymore. He's happy. People will be talking about this wardrobe malfunction for ages. Actually, they don't particularly. Like, it's over and done with by the next episode.
Yeah.
And finally, Jude learns what the audience has known for a while, that the kid is not Tommy's, it's Darius's. So we finally get the apology scene from Jude to Tommy. And Tommy calls Jude a kid. He says, you're just a kid, what do you know? Because she says to him, we make quite the pair. And he calls Jude a kid, and I feel like that was really condescending.
Yes.
And there isn't time for him to explain it, but like, I'm like, dude, you have been pining after this kid, quote unquote, since season 1 when she was 15.
Yeah.
Suddenly you're condescendingly calling her a kid, saying that she doesn't know anything. And Jude says, I'll be turning 18 in a few weeks. I'm not a kid anymore. But everything about this episode, the relationships between Jude and Tommy and Quest, everyone felt off. It just felt like no one was really themselves.
Mm-hmm. It almost felt like a fever pitch.
Yeah, like some kind of fever dream that didn't really happen or something. It's just the only people that were themselves were SME, who were just joking around and being guys.
Yes.
But then the episode ends and we see that Karma has slept with Speed. So she definitely is not a virgin and she lied about the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not surprised,
No.
But that was the episode. I didn't like it.
No.
I'm never gonna like it.
No.
What did you think the episode theme was?
I put more line and then I put and truth coming out.
I wrote dignity just because for the amount of times people say that word in this episode. I now hate that word.
Yes.
Okay, let's get into the song review. Technically, we hear 2 songs this episode. So we hear Karma's version of Waste My Time, which we heard a bit in episode 1. So obviously this is Karma's take on Jude's song. How many instant stars out of 10 do you give Karma's version of Waste My Time?
I gave it like a 5. I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't hate it. And Corey Lee has a gorgeous voice, but I'm so used to Alex's Waste My Time.
Yeah.
And
like, actually,
I can't.
Waste My Time by Jude was not my favourite either. It was probably one of my least favourite songs of season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave it 4. When I say that I don't like Karma, I love Corey Lee. Corey Lee is amazing.
Yeah.
And I love what she brings to the character of Karma. And I think she's incredibly talented. But generally, I don't like Karma's music.
Mm-hmm.
Because then we go into I Will Be the Flame, which is the first song we've heard from Karma that's her own. I gave it 4 again, out of 10.
I did give that one a 4.
Do you have a favourite lyric?
Not from either one. Mm-mm.
I didn't bother with the lyric from Waste My Time because I feel like we all know it. It was hard to pick a favourite lyric for I Will Be the Flame because it's much of a muchness for the whole song. But I do quite like the it's he said, she said, let's even up the score. It's quite a cool lyric.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would probably be my favourite one.
And I quite like how with Karma's music we're now hearing a slightly different style of music on the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's more pop. It's more like R&B, which brings an interesting spin on things.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any what the fuck moments?
No, I did not. I thought I did, but I guess not.
I only had one, which I know it's not, but how much did the house for the bar mitzvah feel like the house from 102 where they go to Darius's party and fall in the pool?
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's not the same house, I'm pretty sure, but it felt like it, especially when Quest, Sadie, and Tommy were in that kind of indoor section. It felt so much to me like the room where Tommy shows Darius Let Me Fall on CD.
Yes.
I know it's not, but it just felt like the same house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What was your favourite quote or quotes? I actually had 3.
I had 2. One I think you're going to be really surprised about, so I saved that to last. Okay, so one is because we heard one of the words so much that I had to do it.
Oh, God.
And so it was to hell with dignity. I was like, just because we heard dignity so much.
Yes. Actually, the episode title for our recap should be To Hell with Dignity.
Yes. Damn it, yes.
Yeah, I'm glad you chose that one.
And then And just because of where I kind of am with this ship right now, I will always love them. But just where I'm seeing them now as a older woman, it was shocking to write this down, and it kind of hurt. But I still say it's one of my favorite. If you ever got Jude, it'd be the worst thing to ever happen to her.
You didn't.
I did.
No. Traitor. Do you agree with it?
Sometimes, but not fully.
I actually don't agree with what Quest said, but season 4 is going to be very revealing for that quote, I think.
Yes. Just so you all know, I'm kind of halfway crying. I'm very shook in my soul.
I am shocked that you chose that.
You should be.
Yes, I don't know how to feel about it.
I know you're disappointed. It's okay. I am too.
I think I need some deep breaths.
Okay. Just don't give up on loving me.
Well, I'm going to lighten the mood with my quotes because that one was shocking.
Okay.
Okay, my favourite quote from Kyle and Wally was, "Man, Karma nailed you." Apparently so did and then all the drumsticks go flying. It was just great.
Yes.
Patsy, when she says, "Even the cocktails are virgins." She brought the comedy this episode.
Yes.
And then I had to have a Jude and Tommy one. Tommy says, "I'm a mess." And Jude says, "Me? So me too. We make quite the pair."
Yes.
Because yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
Okay, how many instant stars out of 10 do you rate this episode?
3.
Same. It's as bad as Oh Well, Whatever, Never Mind, which was 103.
Yes.
And I get it, not every episode can be amazing. I feel like the next couple of season 3 episodes are a bit rocky for me. I don't really remember the next one, but I remember it being a bit kind of iffy.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I don't actually remember what comes after 303. But yeah, we're going to find out, I guess.
Yes.
But that was our recap of season 3, episode 2. And stick around for our recap of the next season 3 mini, which will be out in a few days. Bye!
Bye!
Thank you for listening to The Breakdown, an Instant Star Rewatch podcast. The Breakdown was produced by me, Chloe, and Neon Network Production. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and listen to all episodes of The Breakdown on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. See you next time.